Lucas Giolito now. Okay, first it was Framber Valdez, Zach Gallen, Justin Verlander, and now Lucas Giolito. I got to see where this takes us. Speaking of where it takes us, we're going to be doing live episodes, pregame and postgame, starting March 26th. Opening day will be on 2 p.m. And then following the game, we're going to allow you to call in and tell us what you really think about us. Speaking of us, the handsome Matt Faulkner. Matt Faulkner, what say you, sir?
Joe, good talking to you, my buddy. So I feel like we've spent a ton of time these last few weeks talking about the Orioles rotation, some of the names that have been out there in reports connected with the Orioles. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time today actually talking about a move that they did make. And this was a few months ago. This was, before the holidays back in December. The Orioles did make a trade that, I'll be honest, I'm excited about, with Shane Baz coming from Tampa to the Orioles. And obviously you don't see a lot of interdivisional trades happen a ton in professional sports. So I think it speaks to how the Orioles view Baz going forward. They send 4 prospects, one of which I was a big fan of, Michael Ferret, one of their young pitchers that they actually had homegrown in their farm system. They trade him along with 3 other of those prospects for Shane Baz from the Rays. And when I took some time last week to do a little bit of a deeper dive into the profile on Shane Baz, I'll be honest, I was very, very excited, and I'm looking forward to what I think he's going to bring to the table for this rotation. I'm not going to overkill you here with some stats, but a couple of things that I really like about Baz compared to some of the other free agent pitchers that are still out there. First things first, he has 3 years of team control. So he's going to be an Oriole, knock on wood, for multiple seasons. Last year was his first full year back from Tommy John surgery. He had that surgery back in September of 2022, and he came back last season. He threw 166 innings. 31 starts he made would have led the Orioles. And in those 31 starts, 13 of them, he lasted at least 6 innings. So not only did he start, but he's given you quality innings on a pretty consistent basis. 176 strikeouts. The ERA doesn't look great, but if you look at it a little bit closer, you'll see that he was penalized pitching at home. The Rays played at Steinbrenner Field, which is the Yankees' spring training facility. Yeah. And, his ERA at home was like a 5.9, gave up 18 home runs. So didn't pitch well at home, but on the road, that ERA is a 3.86 compared to 8 home runs. So I think he's going to be even better in Baltimore than he obviously was in Tampa, pitching in that small stadium.
Now, me personally, Shane Baz, okay, I always get back to Jim Carrey, Dumb and Dumber. I like him a lot. I do like this fella a lot. And now it remains to be seen what the prospects that we traded for Shane Baz are going to look like in the coming years. But, sometimes it's a win-win for everybody. And I got to tell you, I will be the first one, as I did earlier. I did a rant earlier where I said I did not like the Grayson Rodriguez trade for Taylor Ward. I didn't like it. The 4 years of control just kind of gets me right here. This trade, on the other hand, I like. And you're right. 176 strikeouts and 166 in the third innings. Not too shabby. 3.86 away from George Steinbrenner Field. I'm saying that right. It's George Steinbrenner Field, is it not?
No, you're correct on that. Yes.
And again, 31 starts at not too shabby. 166 innings. Again, I like him. I like him a lot. I really do. And that is what I keep saying on our broadcast, on our podcast, Matt Faulkner, is don't sleep on Shane Baz. He's good. He's really good. And again, I think that this season, I think he is going to be one of the better starting pitchers, not only for the Orioles, but in the American League. And those fans, you heard it here. Matt Faulkner, at the end of the day, I just got to get to this Lucas Giolito. I got to. But before I do, I'm going to ask you, Matt Faulkner, Lucas Giolito, what say you?
I am out on Lucas Giolito. I would rather see them not make a move than this be the move that they did make for that rotation. You know, we've talked about Framber Valdez. Who knows what that's going to look like, where he ultimately ends up. I'm crossing my fingers that it's in Baltimore. But if it's not, I would hate to see this move as a pivot or a reactionary move after the fact. Giolito, I looked into what he did last season, and the
Well,
numbers are pretty
I'm
good.
dying to hear this.
Well, the numbers look good. They tell one side of the story, and I'm not a big analytics guy compared to some other people that I know and I talk to. But if you look at the metrics, they don't really support Giolito being able to repeat what he did last year. There was some luck, some metrics that really would not support the numbers that he put out. Not to mention, and this is my big issue, he was shut down in September with elbow problems. Now, the reports have come out and said that all the scans were clean, but he didn't pitch in the playoffs for Boston because of the elbow. He's already had Tommy John once, and so to me, I would not, I would not sign up for a Giolito free agent addition if you're asking me, who I would rather have. If we can't get Valdez, you can't get Gallen, I would almost rather see them bring in a guy like Chris Bassett than I would to overpay for Lucas Giolito.
When you say overpay, ballpark, anybody know what he's looking for as far as salary? See if my chat GPT buddies, my chat GPT, his name is Buddy. Giolito declined 19 million mutual option for 2026. Declined $19 million.
So,
Most projection models currently have him in the ballpark of 2 years, 32 million. I mean, I just don't understand why he declined the 19. I guess he wanted 2 years. He wants between 15 and 22 million. And I got to tell you, Matt Faulkner, they all want between 15 and 22 million. They really do. So I'm going to give you a choice. Okay. Matt Faulkner is now the general manager of the Orioles. And I'm going to tell you my opinion. Giolito or Verlander, same money. Go.
I had a feeling you were going to bring Verlander into this. If the money is the same, I would lean Verlander. I know we're gonna talk about the age. Verlander obviously is much older. Giolito's only 31. Verlander 42, I believe. But in terms of who I think would be a better contributor this season, I would take Verlander. I'm hesitant with Giolito. Anytime you're dealing with elbow issues as a pitcher, it generally does not get better before it's going to get worse. And I worry that you give him what he wants, you give him a contract, he comes in, and then what happens, after, we get to June, July, we get into the dog days, are there injury issues? Are there durability concerns? And for me, I would be hesitant. So if I'm Mike Elias, I would tend to, if I'm forced to pick, I would go Verlander.
Okay, Faulkner. All right, let's take a pause here for a second because I don't want to shock our audience. We agree, Matt Faulkner. We agree. Let me tell you where I'm coming from. I am just it's like a mental thing with me, Matt Faulkner. I am so focused, hyper focused all the time, every day on postseason experience. And yeah, I mean, okay, so let's pretend we're going to pretend that we get either Verlander or Giolito. Okay, we're going to pretend here. We'll get to this in a moment, but I'm crossing. Watch him sign him in 10 minutes. I'm crossing Framber Valdez off the list, and I'll explain why in a moment. I think, okay, like we said, Giolito and Verlander. I think the Orioles are going with a 6-man rotation in some capacity for this reason. Now, what you said about Giolito, you could also say about Kyle Bradish. Okay, he's coming off Tommy John. All right. Now, if you look at it from, my 360 view of the world, you able to keep Bradish, I don't want to say keep him healthy, but, You can limit his innings with a 6-man rotation. You can limit the innings from a Justin Verlander under those same sets of circumstances. So again, do you agree 6-man rotation if they get Verlander or Giolito? Go.
I would tend to not agree with the 6-man rotation. I understand where you're coming from an inning standpoint. I totally understand
Yeah.
that. My issue is I don't know, like, so we've talked about the rotation. I don't know that there
Yeah.
are, in my opinion, 6 quality starters that the Orioles have, even if they add a Verlander or they added a guy like Giolito. I don't love 4, 5, and 6. You know, like I said,
Okay.
I'm,
So you don't like Eflin,
I
Boz,
do.
and what's that?
So here's the in terms of the rotation. So Bradish,
Okay, go.
Rogers, and Boz. Bradish, Rogers, Boz. I'm good with those three. I'm confident with that they're going to be pretty solid contributors and really do a
Okay.
nice job this season. After that, I think there's a lot of question marks. Zach Eflin, I I think you're much higher on him than I am. I worry, like, he's only 31, so he's not, in terms of a pitcher, that old. But
Mhm.
I don't know effectiveness. Like, he's had back issues. He had a procedure done, last season that put him out for the second half of the season. So we'll see how he comes
Yeah.
back this year. Dean Kramer, I think, is solid, but I don't know that he is like moving the needle one way or the other. Like, I don't think you could do a lot worse as a number 5 pitcher with Dean Kramer. But it's like after that, to me, and I know you love Cade Povich. You're a big Cade Povich guy.
Boy,
Hey,
embarrasses me, right?
what I would say is if Cade Povich is in the rotation, the Orioles haven't done enough. Like
Mm.
I'm not a big Povich guy. I think projection, he's got a lot of potential, but right now, I
Yeah.
don't think he is good enough to be in the rotation. I think he's either a bullpen guy or I think he's a guy that you can look to flip in a trade down the road. Tyler Wells is another one. Like, this is going to be his first year back fully healthy from his Tommy John surgery. So we don't know what that's going to look like from an inning standpoint. I think he's better suited to be in the bullpen. So to
At this
me,
point, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
But the
I
question
would,
still stands, though, and let me tell you where I'm coming from. So again, we were pretending here. Let's say we got Verlander. So you got Verlander, Bradish, Rogers, Boz, Eflin, and Kramer. So who's the odd man out? Who goes to the bullpen with the 5-man rotation you're talking about? Does Dean Kramer, after all these years and all these starts, does he go into the bullpen as a long man while you have Tyler Wells there already and possibly Suarez or even possibly Povich? I mean, who doesn't crack the 5-man rotation if not Dean Kramer? I mean, I can't imagine they're going to sign either Giolito or Verlander for a long bullpen relief role. So who's out under those circumstances? Kramer? Eflin?
no, I think right now to start, it'll be Eflin because I was reading reports where he's still working his way back from his surgery that he had. And a report says that he feels well and he's hoping to be ready by opening day. But I think that's one to monitor in spring training. Like, how quickly is he able to return to the mound? How many innings? Like, what's his workload and his buildup look like? I don't think that he would be a guy that they would rush to get ready for opening day or opening the season. So I think that's more of a wait and see. I think when fully healthy, that's a legitimate question. The 6-man rotation is a legitimate question, but I just don't see it happening right away. I'm not saying that it can't happen at some point during the year, but I would be very surprised if that is what happens right away from the jump with the 6-man rotation.
Well, we don't disagree in theory. The only part that I'm hazy on is, again, this conversation started with if they make a move for Giolito or if they make a move for Verlander, they're going to be in the rotation, either one of them. So if not a 6th man rotation. And again, I'm a speculating kind of guy here. And Eflin is healthy, the 2025 opening day starter, who was a stud when he was traded for and got to the Orioles. Again, if they don't do a six man, and Eflin is healthy now, Kramer or Baz or Eflin, you got to figure somebody's got to go because it's not going to be Giolito or Verlander. There is no way they're going to pay Giolito what he wants. He's already turned down the team option, if I'm saying that correctly, and I apologize. Giolito declined a 19 million mutual option for 2026 to test free agency because he wants more than he wants. Some outlets suggest he might seek a slightly longer contract, 3 years, 65 million. So this fella wants $20 million a year. Now you gave, and I don't even know why I'm saying this. You're going to have to stop me here, Matt. They gave Charlie Morton and Sagano 15, and you saw what happened there. So at least Lucas Giolito, is I just want to type one quick thing here. Lucas Giolito is, come on, he's 31, turns 32 in July. So, again, he's a lot younger than Charlie. I just don't. The only thing I'm saying, Matt, is I just don't see how you don't go with a 5-man rotation if Eflin's healthy and they get either Giolito or Verlander. And then, for God's sake, what do you do if they get Gallen? Go. I mean, I've talked too much here. They're sick of hearing me, Matt. Go.
Well, I'll say this: Valdez or Gallen, I would love if they're Orioles, at some point in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
I would love that. I would be surprised. I'm holding out hope, but the longer this drags on, the more unlikely I feel like it is to occur. I'm almost, to be honest with you, at a point where if the Orioles are unable to get Valdez or Gallen, I would almost rather them not add a Giolito or Verlander, a Bassett, any of those guys that are still out there, because they're going to overpay. I don't necessarily think they're going to get the bang for the buck. And I almost think it would be better to wait maybe until the trade deadline and sort of reassess where you are, where your rotation is. You'll start to see other teams be maybe more willing to trade guys, because I don't want to think that they're going to panic and just bring in one of these, the Giolito or Verlander, to bring them in just to say that they did it, to your point, because it's just going to create even more of a murky mess with that starting rotation. So I don't know. I mean, if you had talked to me 6 weeks ago, I would have been very confident that Valdez would have been an Oriole. And it seems like the longer this goes, I'm losing that confidence.
See it, Matt. Let me give you some numbers here. The early projections was he was seeking 5 years, 150 million, 30 million a year. Okay. And some estimates, he's looking for 6 years, around 200 million. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's 32. Is that right?
He's 32. He's older than Eflin. He's older than Giolito.
I'm saying he's 32. You give him 5 years, he's 37. Okay. Even if it's deferred or whatever they do nowadays, that's old. That's old. I regret to say it is. I mean, he's a young kid as far as I'm concerned, but for baseball, that's a lot of money to commit for a guy who is going to be 37 if they only did 5 years. Yeah, again, Valdez believed to be seeking, 5, 6 years, between 150 and 225 to 35 million average. And that depends on the structure. And if I'm the Orioles, I don't. Let me see one more person's age here. And that is, or maybe you know it already, is Dylan Cease. So Dylan Cease is 30 years old, and he got 7 years at 210. Gosh, I mean, that's just like if he was 32, it's like giving him 5, but they wouldn't give him 5 at 32. So Lord knows, but I don't see the Framber Valdez thing working out, and I would I'd rather have Zach Gallen anyway.
Well, and what I've been kind of reading in the last couple of days, from what I've seen, it seems like the longer this goes, the more likely Valdez is going to be kind of forced to take a shorter deal, a 1 or 2, a 3-year deal for now, and then hopefully, he pitches well, then he gets that contract down the road. But here's my thing: do I think the rotation is good enough right now as it is to win a World Series? The answer is no. But I think, knock on wood, if everyone is healthy in a perfect world, I think it's much better than it was going into last season. And like I said, I don't think that a move has to be made right now. You could wait till the trade deadline. You could make a trade. A lot of things happen, over the course of 162 games. And there may be teams that are willing to trade guys that we may not be able to get right now.
Yeah, oh no, that is certainly possible and not a bad idea, actually. Again, at the end of the day, I don't know. I'm reading a lot today. Yeah, Zach Gallen. Now he rejected a qualifying offer in Arizona for 22 million. Okay, he wants 4 years, 80 million, a 2 to 3 year pack, 36 to 44 million. So yeah, I mean, this fella with bonuses, etc. Yeah, he wants between 24 and 30 million a year. And I got to tell you, he'll get it. He'll get it. People think he's a cheaper option. And these starting pitchers are so rare, especially when they're good, as Zach Gallen was, and I repeat was. Sometimes they pay these guys for what they used to do, and not so much. Chris Davis, was a perfect example. They paid him for what he did instead of what he was going to do. However, at the end of the day, Matt Faulkner, I have good news I want to share. May I?
Absolutely. Floor is yours.
All right. So, Faulkner, the handsome Matt Faulkner, that's what the ladies are saying out there, Matt. It's not my fault. Not my fault. We're going to do live shows, and that is starting March 26th, 2 p.m. And then post game, we're going to allow the fans to call in both pregame and post game. And I have a feeling some of them are really going to let me have it. And let me tell you who let me have it. Okay, this is pretty funny. Somebody let me have it. You ready?
Go ahead.
Our partner Michael Sullivan let me have it. When I did the rant about, I didn't like Grayson Rodriguez for Taylor Ward, Michael Sullivan replied, "You are wrong, Joe." Jeez, Michael, don't tell me how you really feel, sir. So, and you think I'm wrong too, right?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I like the move. I did. I was surprised by it, but I like it. I like what Taylor Ward's going to bring to the table. They needed a right-handed bat, a power bat. They got him. And Grayson, for as much potential as he has and what he's shown in short periods of time, like, he could be a really, really good pitcher, but the health seems like that's a bet that I would not make. And so, if the Orioles, I think, got good value for him. Now, he could go out there and he could pitch really well. I would be surprised if that happens. I wish him well, but going off of what we've seen, I wouldn't bank on it, but I wish him well. But I think the value in Taylor Ward coming here, I think was too good of a deal not to do if you're the Orioles.
So 4 years of control with Grayson Rodriguez, okay, who was again our number one blue chip pitching prospect. 4 years of control and a guy who's going to walk at the end of the year. That's still a good deal as far as you and the brilliant Michael Sullivan think. So Joe's wrong, and we'll see. Is that right? Now, the only thing I'm saying is if I'm right, I get some crabs or some crab cakes.
Yeah,
So,
I did see. I
yeah.
saw the little wager that you guys had with the craft. So we'll have to, I'm willing to coastline along with Michael. So maybe I can add something to it as well. Maybe I don't know what else you would want with your crabs, but we'll figure something out. Let's throw it
No,
into the pot.
just additional crab cakes
There you
or
go.
2
There you
dozen
go.
crabs. And I'm going to ask Michael this, and then I want you to also think, Matt Faulkner, if I lose, what you guys want. I'm a fair man. I'm a fair man. And I will say this, who's fans, we just graciously appreciate you spending a little time with us. We love doing this show. We love coming on here and trying to give you as much information as possible because we all know how smart I am and how good looking Matt is and how brilliant Michael is. We do appreciate you spending some time with us. Please like, share, subscribe, click the notification bell, comment for all the latest episodes of Joe Rossano's Orioles Report with Michael Sullivan. And I am Joe Rossano for Matt Faulkner. God bless you, my dearest friends and O's fans. Don't forget to adopt a pet, right, Matt?
Absolutely.
And we will see you next time.